I mean, obviously it wasn't a successful season by any means from top to bottom. Just my play in general, not my best season. Just going off of my own personal scale, people create narratives of me and who I am and what I do and what I believe in that are, just not true. Our issue was with just the reception I got from people here and for any reason, whatever that may be. I'm not asking for people to, one, understand me or appreciate anything. When I first got here, the ability to be able to do what I'm able to do for a team and the organization wasn't given a fair chance. I'm always have to prove myself again in the year after year after year, which is to me just unfair. There's really no reason I have to do that. There's going to be a lot of different changes based on who the coach is and how our style of play and what we play like. So that question is kind of up in the air. It's not my decision to determine who's here, who's not. Strictly based on, he asked me about my experience from start, and that's my answer.
Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers. I'm Chris McGee, joined by our Laker insider down there, Michael Bresnahan, and from The Athletic, Jovan Buha. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, man.
Yeah?
How are you?
How's off season?
It's been nice. I've been able to enjoy some good basketball for a change.
Isn't that nice?
Playoff vibe. Been enjoying, Do
you have a favorite series?
The playoffs. I thought Boston-Brooklyn, despite it being a sweep, was really competitive.
Yeah.
All those games kind of came down to the wire. So that would probably be it. Minnesota-Memphis has been fun as well.
A lot of fun. Brez, do you have a favorite series?
Minnesota-Memphis. I don't think they could win it all, but it is kind of fun to see what those guys are doing. Two teams with very good young cores. We'll see who emerges.
Like an apology from some of our Eastern Conference friends that we have that work here that kind of knocked the Western Conference a little bit. You know what?
The
Western
West.
Conference is playing some basketball.
Yeah, West is
having a
still
lot
the
of
best.
fun. All right, guys, let's start with some Russell Westbrook talk. First, he deleted all posts referencing the Lakers, Wizards, or Rockets, leaving only media from his time with the Thunder. Day later, deleted every single post from his account. And on Thursday, he added one post, a picture of himself in his Lakers uniform, captioned "One of One," and featuring audio of late rapper Nipsey Hussle talking about how he doesn't care about what others think about him and how he'd always be unapologetically himself. Jovan, I want to start with you because we have not heard from you since the Russ exit interviews. He shared his thoughts, and by the way, they've been topics for us on our shows ever since. What was your takeaway from that day and now this?
Yeah, I wrote a column off of his exit interview where I basically said Russ is lacking in self-awareness. And I thought that, we kind of saw this throughout the season, and I thought that maybe the exit interview would be his final kind of chance to take some accountability for his poor play. And to me, he did not do that. He pointed the finger everywhere but himself. He pointed it at LeBron and AD. He pointed it at Frank Vogel. He pointed it at the fans and just kind of not being able to play his game in LA. So I think to me, he, the one-on-one thing in the video just kind of confirms, he's digging in on I am me, I'm going to always be me. And to me, that's a problem for the Lakers.
Yeah, and the slow, steady dissolving of his social media account, I thought that was entertaining, fascinating. Just, one thing here, and then we'll take more away there, and then take more away there, and put something up here. It seems methodical, like he's trying to prove a point. As in, I'll put everything away, I'm not going to listen to the noise, I'm going to keep being myself, and for now, I am a Laker. I appreciate the Nipsey Hussle reference. Always good to see something like that. But Jovan, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, he kind of lit a few fires under people, including his coach, who already had been fired earlier in the day. And then, of course, when he was asked if he and LeBron and AD, they had some good stories about how they all got together and talked about ways to fix the team, Russ says, no, that didn't really happen. So I think there's a lot of atoning to do during this offseason. Well,
and he had one comment where he did kind of take accountability, but even in that, he was like, I'm the one who judges myself, I'm the one that's hard on myself, and I didn't average a triple-double this season, so that's why I didn't have a good season. And if he's judging his season on whether he averaged a triple-double, that to me is just completely missing the point. And I was really personally disappointed with his comments and the lack of self-awareness I saw.
Let's stay with Russ, because part of the NBA offseason, and the fun of it is all the rumors that go around about trade packages. So when it comes to Russ, there are a few that kind of float out there, right? There's the Indiana, there's Houston, you always hear Charlotte. Those are kind of the main three, and there's a couple more that bump around. Is there one that intrigues you the most, and is there one that's the most real?
I like the Indiana one,
Yeah.
but I like Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah.
Here's the problem for him. A gifted player, averaged 20 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds this season, but yet again, a half a season. The guy played 75 games as a rookie in Milwaukee. The 5 years since then, he's averaged 52 games per season. So he just cannot stay healthy. When he is on the court, he really is a triple-double threat. Love his game. He's got 3 more years left for about $68 million. Now, they have to add someone to that, maybe a Buddy Hield or a Miles Turner to make that happen. But to me, the Lakers will have to do a deal like this if they do want to unload Russell Westbrook, take back a player with some question marks. In this case, a lot of salary left and some injury issues the last 5 years.
I think the Indiana one would be a home run.
Yeah.
And really, to me, the Lakers' quickest path back to contention. I think if you can get a Malcolm Brogdon and a Buddy Hield or a Miles Turner, as you said, I think all 3 of those guys would fit well around LeBron and AD. I think you're getting a couple starters there. And given the other packages that they're kind of looking at, be it John Wall in Houston or Gordon Hayward in Charlotte, I think the Indiana one is probably the best one that I would fit.
Is that La La Land, or is that something that you think is reality?
Well, I think if you're Indiana, you're looking at it like, it's a massive expiring contract.
Yeah.
We are starting to build around Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte,
Yeah.
maybe taking a next phase of the franchise. Now, the one thing with Indiana is they're kind of Utah East, where they don't really rebuild. If you go to Basketball Reference, pull up their records year by year, they're always at least in the 30s. So I don't know if Indiana's fully willing to kind of rebuild and go that route, but maybe you buy out Russ. I don't know where they go from there, but I think it's possible. I wouldn't say it's likely, but I think it's possible.
All right, Yvonne, I'm going to put you on the spot. You hard-earned money, man, and you got to bet it. You have to bet it. Would you say Russ has played his last game as a Laker?
Yes.
You bet all your money on it?
I would.
Okay. Bress?
No.
Russ likes to play the market. He likes to play the ponies a little bit.
I do.
A little blackjack.
See, I think it's better than 50-50 that he's back. It's close. Okay. I think it really is close. The Lakers are going to call 29 teams, probably 29 times each. But there's no guarantee they can find a willing partner. The NBA is not silly. They watched what happened this year. They saw a team struggle, finishing 16 games under 500. Injuries for sure, the main reason, but the inability of Russ or to assimilate with the Lakers, or vice versa, for them to bring Russ into the fold, what was an issue.
If he does come back, does the social media manager have to put all those pictures back?
What happens? It's a lot of work.
All right, from Russ to the Lakers coaching search and the purple and gold for a head coach in addition to the Lakers. Charlotte Hornets, they got to the play-in tournament. They were 43-39. They had a lot of fun, but not good enough. They fired their head coach, Sacramento. Once again, looking for a new head coach. So as of now, more likely to come, these are the 3 teams looking for head coach. So the Lakers kind of on the clock. Rob said Lakers would love to see someone before draft day, which is back to its normal time slot, June 23rd. When do you guys think, Brez, I'll start with you, that search kind of ramps up?
It depends. What happens to some of the other teams still alive in the playoffs? Does Philly have a quick exit in the first round? What about Utah? Quinn Snyder, I think he'd be a natural here. He coached here for a year as an assistant. The franchise liked him a lot, including Kobe Bryant. It depends on other series. It really does, because the Lakers can go nowhere near a head coach from another team until that team is eliminated. So I'm guessing it's at least a month away.
Yeah, I would give it at least a couple weeks because, again, I think Utah, that series could be done tonight.
Sure.
Philly could be done, or, I guess they could advance or they could lose.
But if Philly loses, that means they've lost a real lead.
Yeah.
Doc's in trouble.
I think you might have to stay away from it at that point. But, I think it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what direction they go, because the one thing I took away from Rob's exit interview was he's looking for someone with gravitas, someone that can command a locker room. And I did feel like towards the end of the season, it seemed like players were tuning Frank out a little bit, and it felt like he didn't have the same command over the locker room that he had earlier in the year. So I think that is something that's going to be a big thing. And that is something, when you think of Doc Rivers, that is one of his strengths.
And once you kind of learned about Russ and Frank's relationship from Russ's side of things, obviously there was some disconnect there. Candidates, who do you guys like? What are some of the guys you're intrigued by?
Rivers and Quinn Snyder definitely atop the list, but here's the problem. We haven't mentioned this yet. Both those guys are under contract beyond the season. Quinn still has a year left with the Jazz as a coach. Doc has many years left as a Sixers coach. Now, maybe those coaches go to the franchises if they flame out early, or maybe the franchises go to the coaches and say, hey, this isn't working. Do you want to part amicably? we're not going to pay you anymore, but you're free to pursue other leads elsewhere. And if that happens, then I think the Lakers are in play to obviously talk to these two guys. But if it doesn't happen, maybe Philly goes all the way to the finals. I don't see Doc Rivers leaving after something like that. I don't see the Philly GM saying, yeah, we'll let you go, even though you got, was it 3 years left on this deal, Jovan?
Something like that.
At least 2. So just so many things up in the air, but those two guys have that gravitas you were talking about.
My top candidate is Nick Nurse, who is also another guy under contract.
Can't forget him.
And someone that I think is considered by most people around the league a top 3 to top 5 coach.
Yeah.
Won a championship a couple years ago. He's one of the most creative minds in the NBA, great at X's and O's. I think he'd be my top candidate. Again, though, you don't know if his availability. It might be a situation like Doc Rivers going to the Clippers back in 2013, where you'd have to trade a pick to send Toronto some compensation to get him back. So that would be the guy I'd be targeting. He also has the Clutch connection. He's represented by Clutch Sports. I think Quinn Snyder's up there. Mike Brown, a former Lakers head coach. I think. Yeah, with the Warriors right now. And his thing is, he's always been a really good defensive coach, and you saw that through the years with Cleveland. And even in LA, it was more the offense that was the problem. But he spent the last 6 years in Golden State with Steve Kerr, learning under one of the best offensive minds in basketball. So I think, implementing some of the movement offense that the Warriors have run for the last half decade, like, that would be pretty interesting to me. And then the last one for me is Juwan Howard, who Michigan coach, but has ties with LeBron.
Is that kind of the dark horse coming out of the...
Yeah, I think so. Played with LeBron in Miami, was
on the
assistant
outside,
coach under Eric Spoelstra. I think he's someone that could also have that gravitas.
Dark horse as well, Darvin Ham, a very good assistant for the Milwaukee Bucks, has experience like Quinn Snyder